But I will say for you, when you did your bit at comedy night, when we were in Orlando, everybody was enjoying what you said, because I don't know, you just have it. You're very gifted in your comedy, and all of that to say, can you do a little something that you think that your folks really love? Like when you go somewhere, Dave, and you think, okay, got to pull this one back in. This is my best stuff. What would that be?
Well, my favorite story is one that comes near the, I don't always use it, but I used to use it almost. It was my universal closer, like Tim Gard with his airplane, his flight story. And I call it my dog toe story, because I had a fella come up to me after a presentation one time, and he looked angry. And I thought, I'm talking about creating more joy in what you do, creating the kind of workplace and life for yourself where you're less stressed and you're more tuned in to being able to cope with laughter. Most people don't disagree. Most people are going, I may not do it, but at least I agree. Well, this fella came up and he said, well, must be nice to be you. I said, it's not bad. What does that mean? He goes, all you choose joy, change your focus, all that stuff, you found a way around paying good for you. And I said, is that what you heard? Because that was not my message. My message was intended to be, I want joy to be my default mode. Humor helps me get back there when I'm pushed off of that set, that set point. And so humor is a way that I can reframe and I can play with pain. So I told him a story, and I share it with folks as I'm kind of winding things up. Then the first thing I will ask is, how many dog lovers do we have? Right? I know, Jane, are you a dog lover?
Yes.
Yes, me too. I love dogs. I absolutely love dogs because they are so guileless and so willing and enthusiastic in the way that they show affection. I had a friend of mine who he came home one day. I was over there visiting, and his wife, the dog went nuts, and she started kissing the dog. And I thought, I love my dog. I am not kissing my dog because I saw my dog give himself a bath. So we do have boundaries, but he's kissing the dog. And he said, I think she's happier to see that dog when she comes home than she is to see me. I said, well, tell me the truth. When was the last time you licked her face when she came to the door? You do what that dog's doing. She will rub your belly too. Okay. So we had a little dog that we got from the animal shelter, and she was fully grown. So the question was, is she housebroken? And we asked the woman who was doing the adoption, our doggy social worker, and she looked at her sheet and she said, sure, which didn't inspire me with a lot of confidence. And we took the dog home and found out she was housebroken, but not a fanatic about it. Sort of casual, sort of like, is that important to you? I'll try. Right. So her method to let me know that she had to go out was to just scratch at the bed. I didn't realize I was being trained because after a while, because there was no snooze button on this dog, right? So if I rolled over for 5 more minutes of sleep once he scratched, that was my choice. But when I woke up, every time there was a little gift on the rug, and the dog sitting beside the spot with no shame at all, just going, what did I say? Right. So at that point, you couldn't even fault the dog. So I was so well trained at this point that the dog scratched the bed. It was about 5:30 in the morning. I ran downstairs, dog in a lead, ran to the living room, tearing through across the floor, heading for the dining room back door. And we had a TV stand that was out of place there in the dark. I didn't see it. And I didn't clear it. Let's say it that way. I didn't clear it. Most of me did. Maybe only that much of me didn't clear it, whatever the width of my little toe is, because that's the part that didn't get around. And there was a snap, and I heard it. And there was a delay. I didn't even feel the pain for a second. But when the pain got to my head, it is really hard to describe. The only thing I can tell you is until that moment, I had no idea I could speak Spanish. I was fluent in other tongues. I felt like, ay, caramba. My wife is a Spanish teacher. I think she woke up and understood every word I said. I think he hurt his foot. Now, I was thinking that man who came up to me that day, must be nice to be you. Wouldn't he have loved to have been there? Because he would have been on my couch with a bag of popcorn. And as I rolled around in agony, I said, "Hey, Dave, why don't you choose some joy?" I know. Change your focus, Dave. What you've been telling us for the last hour. I couldn't have told you my middle name at that point because pain filled my world. And I told this story to a group of seniors one time at a hospital event. This lady came up to me afterwards. She was so sweet. She said, "But what happened to the dog?" I said, "I don't know." I think you missed the point. I was in agony. But so I went to the doctor for broken toe, and of course we had the whole thing. He came out with an X-ray. He said, "Oh, that's broken." I said, "Yes." Well, I thought the toenail on the bottom was a bad sign, right? I'm no doctor. That didn't look right to me either. But the lesson was when I called my mother, and like I told you, my mom was just one of the funniest people I ever knew. But I wasn't looking for her humor. I wanted sympathy. I wanted that mommy kiss the boo-boo, right?
That's right. So that's the baby.
You don't outgrow that. And so I called her and said, "Mom, guess what I did?" And I told her the story, and she went, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." And, is there an actual mother there? I'll hold. My God. But she was laughing. And you know what? In spite of myself, I had to laugh. And I saw the possibility. And so I actually would emphasize the limp when I went places because I told the story and other people would laugh at my pain. My pain was hilarious to other people. And so finally, I would limp. And so people would go, "What happened to your foot?" I go, "Sit down." Because I've got a story. And there's nothing better than a great story to share. But the question then is, what if I could, knowing everything that story gave me? I mean, it entertained audiences. It made people laugh around dinner tables. What if I could go back in a time machine to that one morning in my life and knowing everything in humor and the payoff to other people that had provided. And this time, though, knowing all that, I had a choice to step around that TV stand. Would I? Yes, I would. Absolutely. I'd step around it and make up a story. What would you know? So the point is, we're not given that choice because that's not how life works. Pain chooses us, pandemics choose us, economic downturns choose us. Our choice is whether or not we're going to allow that to define us, to make us hopeless, to make us helpless, or it's going to be something we use humor as a way to play with our pain a little bit and to reframe our adversity so that puts us back into some perception of control. So it became a great way to teach a lesson. There's the teacher about something that was as you and Blue Heckler were talking about, the small stories. It wasn't big. It wasn't life-changing. It wasn't life and death. But it was a moment that certainly people could relate to. And
yeah.